Hello everyone. Welcome to another GMAT Friday episode with Durga Sircar, your verbal mentor. Today we have a challenging critical reasoning question which is rated at 705 plus. If you are new to our channel, make sure to explore our previous videos linked in the description below. Let's jump into today's question. Pause the video here, attempt it yourself, and when you are ready, resume to see how we can solve it together. Okay, so let's have a look at the argument, and our first step will be to deconstruct the argument to see what the author is trying to say. So in one round sealed bid auctions, each prospective buyer submits in strict confidence a single bid and the sale goes to the highest bidder. So what do we mean by this? That there is one type of auction which is a sealed bid auction and there is only one round of bidding. That means every bidder is going to place only one bid in confidence. No other bidder would know the amount that he or she is bidding, and the final sale will go to the person who has bid the highest amount. Now let's read ahead. A reserve price. Okay. A minimum price below which there will be no sale can be set by the seller. Now a reserve price is the price which will be a minimum price set by a seller. Now for example, what will be a reserve price? If I reserve the price of my article X as $100 and there is a bidding which happens wherein the highest price bid for my article is $10. In this case, the sale will not go through because the highest price that was bid is lower than the reserve price which I have set for my article. Now, this price is set by the seller as the protection against a token bid. What is a token bid? Which is an unreasonably low bid, sometimes made by a bidder who gambles that there will be no other bid. So for example, if there is a mischievous person and he thinks that there are not many people who are going to bid for this article X, so let me just bid only $2. And because he is the only bidder for that article, he might win the bid and the article will go to him. But if I have set a reserve price of $100, the sale will not go through and that mischievous person will not receive the item. Now let's move ahead. What does the author finally say? Paradoxically, such protection is most needed when extremely desirable items are auctioned off this way. Now, what is the author trying to say here? Paradoxically. Paradoxical means, what is a paradox? A paradox is a contrasting situation. A paradox is a situation in which there are two scenarios which are opposite to each other. Now, here the author says that why is it that a reserve price is being set for extremely desirable articles? Now let's have a look at a scenario. For example, I am selling the Kohinoor diamond, okay, or maybe the Kohinoor diamond is being sold. Now what will happen? There are many people who are desirous of the Kohinoor diamond and there will be high bids with multiple bids for the Kohinoor diamond. So it is probable that it will be sold at a very high price. So if I am a seller selling the Kohinoor diamond, why do I have to set a reserve price for it when I know that there are going to be multiple bids of high prices? Now this is the paradox in this situation wherein a reserve price is being set for a highly desirable item. Now let's have a look at the question. So this is what the question is actually asking us. Which of the following, if true, about one round sealed bid auctions most helps to explain why the generalization characterized above as paradoxical holds. So now let's have a look at each of the options one by one and see which is our correct choice. Okay guys, so let's have a look at the options now. So what does A say? The bidder who submitted the winning bid on an item cannot, on being informed of this fact, decline acceptance of the item in favor of the next highest bidder. So for example, if I have won a bid on a particular item, once I know that I am the winner and I will have to pay for that item, I cannot decline from accepting that item and I cannot forfeit the bid. So I will have to pay for the item for which I have won the bid. I cannot pass it on to the next highest bidder. So these are the conditions of the bid which has been placed. But does this help us in understanding why does a reserve price need to be set for extremely desirous items? Is it resolving our paradox in any way? No. So let's move to the next option and eliminating A, moving towards B. What does B say? The identity of unsuccessful bidders is not disclosed unless those bidders themselves choose to disclose it. So for example, there are many bidders, some will win, some will lose the bids. So the other bidders will not know which of the bidders have won or which of the bidders have lost unless they themselves choose to discuss it or they choose to disclose it. So because it's a confidential bidding, nobody would know what is the amount the other person has bid or whether the other person has lost or won. So does this help us in explaining or does this resolve the paradox as to why a reserve price has to be set for extremely desirous bids, extremely desirous items? No. So we can eliminate B option. Now let's have a look at the next one. Now let's see what is C saying. The C says reserve price on an extremely desirable item is generally set high enough to yield a profit for the seller even if the winning bid just matches it. So what is this option trying to say? Let's try to understand it with the help of our example. So what was our example saying? That for example, I had set the price of my article X at $100 and let's suppose I had procured it for $80. So I am setting a reserve price in such a way that I make a profit out of it. Now even if the winning bid just matches what? The reserve price, means even if somebody who has won this bid has bid an amount of $110 or even if the highest bid is just at $100, because below this my article will not be sold, I as a seller I am still in profit. So this option tells me that the reserve price is set in such a way that the seller will make a profit out of the deal. Now this option is talking about the setting of a reserve price for extremely desirable items. So let's keep it on a hold and let's have a look at our other options. Okay. Moving towards D. What is D saying? Prospective buyers of an extremely desirable item can often guess quite accurately who at least some of the other prospective buyers are. So if I am present at an auction, I know that maybe these are the other people who are also interested in the same item. Or I know that maybe my friends who are present there, they might be interested in some of the other items. Okay. So in this option, are we able to understand as to why a reserve price has to be set for an extremely desirable item? No. We only know that, for example, if I am interested in that item, my friend might also be interested in that extremely desirable item. But why does a reserve price need to be set? That is not clear, and hence we can eliminate D. Moving towards the last one, that is E. What is E saying? Prospective buyers tend to believe that in order to be successful, a bid on an extremely desirable item would have to be so high as not to make economic sense. So what is this option trying to tell us? Now let's understand this better with the help of an example. So talking about my Kohinoor diamond which I was selling. So I have this Kohinoor diamond which I am trying to sell, and everybody or most of the people who are bidding on that item know that it's a extremely desirable item. So there are going to be high bids. Okay. So some of the prospective buyers might think that we have very few chances of winning. So let's just not bid on this item, because nevertheless I don't have much chance of winning the item. What is the use of bidding? And if every prospective buyer thinks in this way, what will happen? Imagine our mischievous bidder. He would bid a notorious amount like $2, and he being the only bidder will actually win the bid if there is no reserve price. So, I, to safeguard my interest, will have to set a reserve price for my diamond. So, here it is clear that why, when there is an extremely desirable item in question, setting a reserve price becomes even more important. And what was the paradox? The paradox in the question was that when an item is extremely desirous, then why do we need to set a reserve price? So E is actually telling us that when an item is extremely desirous, it becomes even more important that we set a reserve price. So definitely E is a very strong contender. But let's not forget C. We had kept C on hold. So moving back to C and E. So what was C saying? C was actually talking about the profitability of the seller. C was saying that in order to yield a profit, if I set a reserve price, in any case, I will not be at a loss even if my item is sold at the reserve price to the bidder. But E tells us that when the item is extremely desirous, in order to avoid the, you can say, 1 in a million scenario of prospective buyers actually not bidding for the item and the mischievous guy taking my item, I need to set a reserve price. So E actually explains the paradox to us appropriately as to why it becomes even more important to set a reserve price for an extremely desirous item. So with that, I would like to end this question here. If you liked our content, please hit the like button and subscribe for more such interesting content.